We talk you through a Week 7 victory, and the Chiefs are headed to Mile High. Coming up next.
Get ready, Chiefs Kingdom, to unleash your passion and excitement for all Chiefs content. With the up-and-coming sports media company giving you all of the Chiefs coverage. We are raising the decibels and embracing the community of Chiefs Kingdom. Elevate your fandom and join our team who loves your team. Red Kingdom Media.
Chiefs.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
To this edition of the Home of the Chiefs podcast. I am your host, Clinton Petrie, and Shannon Rush is here joining me as always. How has your week been so far?
It's been good. It was fun. The last game we went to was really fun. We're going to talk about that.
That's right. And then we're also going to talk about the history that was made on that Sunday and talk about some returns that we've seen, and unfortunately somebody who did not end up back with the team. And then we'll also get you guys ready for this Week 8 matchup against the Broncos, having already played them in the Week 6 matchup here on Thursday night in Arrowhead. But before we go into that, I just want to let you all know that we'd like you to follow and subscribe to us on all the platforms that you can imagine on the screen, or for those who are listening, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, and Twitch as well. So if you are interested or on any of those platforms, feel free to give us a follow and let us know that you prefer that platform over anywhere else. And if you are also so kind, you could leave a like or comment or share that so your friends and family and whoever else can see us and can get in on the action the same way that you all do. So thank you so much for that. And let's get back to your regularly scheduled Chiefs discussion. So everybody, the Chiefs, as I stated at the beginning, hosted the Los Angeles Chargers last Sunday afternoon at 3:25 Arrowhead. That was a 31-17 victory. It was a 3-3 first quarter to a 24-17 halftime to a 31-17 ending, where there was only one more touchdown put on the board, period. And it was by the Chiefs after the Mecole Hardman return.
Yep.
So walk me through how you're feeling kind of as this game progresses on. So I guess without focusing too much on like players and details, walk me through kind of how your emotions were when you were, just getting there. The game felt like starting was slow, and it felt like it was picking up, then it was like a whole bunch stalling. So walk me through. Tell me what you were feeling during that time.
Well, when we first got there, I felt excited, and I could feel like everyone's energy and everything, and everyone was excited, I think, and it was a pretty day, so everyone was out tailgating, and we actually got to tailgate, which was fun. And then we went inside, and I was nervous but excited. And then when the first quarter was going on, it was kind of slow, but everyone was yelling. It was really, really loud because we were on defense first, so it got really, really loud. So that was really cool. And then the second quarter, still kind of like nothing happening, but picking up towards like halftime. And then after halftime, it was kind of just like loud again, crazy. And then the fourth quarter was crazy too. It was the last half was just like nuts.
Just a repeat of the third quarter, but extreme.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was like a roller coaster.
I think kind of my description. So the game kind of started, like you said, the defense started really well. They got the sack to start the game, but nobody at TV got to see that. So
Yeah.
Chiefs started off. They got the stop right away. They went down the field goal, and then it was kind of like everybody was kind of matching whatever happened. So the Chiefs scored first, and then the Chargers, that drive immediately took it for a field goal. And then the Chiefs decided to do a touchdown. The Chargers matched that.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs scored a touchdown. Chargers matched that. And then the Chiefs get the ball towards the end of the second quarter
Mm-hmm.
and got that score to be up 24-17 going into halftime. And then, like you said, the third and fourth quarter, the score stayed exactly the same. And it was, felt like it was compelling for us as the Arrowhead crowd to keep that score the way it is and justify that it was good enough. If we could not score or keep them from scoring, we should win just fine.
Yeah, it was really loud. It got really loud. And then we got loud with the refs doing what they did to us. Then we just were like yelling at the refs too. I was screaming because of the refs at some point.
True, yeah, they were making me mad. Which at this point, since they won, you don't have to really die or on that hill of screw the refs and stuff. You can just shrug it off and say they managed to get through it despite what felt like 2-on-1 teams with white on their jerseys.
Yep.
So I was gonna ask, so I was hearing like some people like in other formats talk, and there was basically like, would you prefer a really offensive scoring back and forth type game, or would you prefer if the Chiefs were winning 7-0 and that score had to hold the rest of the game? And a lot of people were saying, yeah, they'd really like the defense because they love that part of Arrowhead and being loud and screaming and trying to get involved. So before we go into the like Travis Kelce and the Patrick Mahomes making history stuff and kind of going more down the game script, what is your thoughts on that? Are you on the side of having it be more defense so you can enjoy the getting up and screaming the whole time, or the offense back and forth where it lasts longer, it seems high energy, but you're really not screaming unless it's touchdowns?
Yeah, I like when we get to scream and yell because it's like an outlet and you don't really get to do that on a daily basis. So when you're all together and you're screaming and you're trying to get to that 142 decibels, that is so fun. And I think that's probably my favorite part, is when we all like really just get really loud and you can't even hear like what they're saying over the microphones and things like that. Like, it's crazy. Sometimes you can't even like hear like me and you talking to each other, like next to each other, and it just gets so loud. And that's what I like about it. But I do like the other edge of it too, where you kind of just get to like chill back and know like, oh yeah, we've got this game. Like, we don't have to like fight for this game. But I think what makes like this sport fun is getting to fight for that and fight for the title and fight for the win.
Yeah, I see that in Chiefs history before having Mahomes and such. Always felt like that was the only way you were going to win the game, is if your defense could stand and not allow anything, and that Arrowhead made their impression, and that was enough.
If we can make the other team not be able to hear.
Right. But I mean, we've seen in the past that even that's not good enough.
Yeah.
And in the past, in Chiefs history, we haven't had that amazing of a defense that says, oh, we can just, let them do their thing and I'm not too worried.
Yeah.
Versus like, oh, every time the defense is on the field, I'm worried something that they're not going to, keep it.
Make it, yeah.
But I'm on your side. I love screaming it out. I think my head doesn't like the
stress and the like.
Right, because having that side of my brain that thinks, oh, the other sheet's gonna drop, something bad. It's not gonna.
Yeah, something's bad. It's gonna happen.
But then it's like, well, Mahomes is there, so it's like you want to put the game in the defense's hands, but you have Mahomes as a safety blanket.
Yeah.
And it's like either way, I kind of forget about the other half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I'm either forget that Mahomes is there when I'm like, this defense cannot allow anything. And then I'm like, oh, who cares about the defense? Because Mahomes, just give him enough time.
Mahomes and Kelce.
Give him enough time and enough space, and he'll get whatever you need to win or continue the game.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's a good conversation. And that's kind of part of the mystique of Arrowhead is it's known to be loud. It's known to be raucous. And defensive games are ways for that to be showcased really easily.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the offense. T Swift was in the audience. Yeah, you get to put her name in the tags. So Mahomes and Kelce matched up for their 50th touchdown, which is a lot.
That's exciting. That's really cool.
They've been together since the beginning of 2018, so you can do the math. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and
5
we're only
years.
partly through 23, so we're not through 6 full years.
Yeah.
So he's averaged almost 10 touchdowns a season with Mahomes. And we don't even think of like Travis's biggest threat to defenses as being the guy who's going to get the touchdown.
Yeah.
It's like, it's 3rd and something, and they're in the middle of the field. And if they could get, another chunk or two, then the drive keeps going, and we'll figure out how that ends in a score. But Kelce, he still finds a way to get in the end zone, especially against the Chargers. He loves scoring against the Chargers. Seen that 2 years prior to this, whenever they played in Los Angeles, he walked the game off by getting the last touchdown. So it didn't quite happen. He did get the second to last touchdown. We saw Isaiah Pacheco put a late touchdown on the board to make that score look a little better and we won by more than we did.
Yeah.
Make the game look better than it appeared on paper while you were watching it. So I don't know. I know you're not totally stat driven and stuff like that, but just speak on like what kind of an accomplishment that is.
It's amazing. It's an amazing accomplishment, and I feel like that's going to be one of the historical things that people talk about with them, that duo, is that they're just on all the time. And we watched that video earlier today of that one guy, and they were just like making like plays and like connecting, and it's just crazy how they can just connect and do things that other people can't.
They have a connection somehow.
Yeah, it's like a mental thing where they're just like, oh, okay, I know what you're gonna do, I know where you're gonna go, and I'm there, and I'm gonna make a touchdown now.
And it's strange because Kelce to start was like a very Alex Smith guy. Like he was at first not happy, I guess.
Oh, really?
That Alex Smith was traded, just because he had already had a rapport with Alex Smith.
Was used to him, I guess.
So I bet Mahomes rolled in and was like, "Oh, Kelce, you're really good, so I'm gonna focus on you." And then Kelce saw his intensity and his passion and his desire to win, and was like, "Okay, hard feelings aside, this guy's a dog. He's gonna get a victory. He's gonna get me the ball, even when I'm not expecting it, and expecting to win the game." So it's great to see a relationship like that blossom to almost brotherhood.
At this point,
we don't know how many more years there is truly. Can you make it to 60 or 70 or who knows? But like, just to be up there in terms of like quarterback to receiving weapon combinations puts you, in the highest regard.
Yeah.
Montana to Rice.
Yep.
Aikman to Irving. Those combinations, they get talked about in that way. They get synonymized. That's the right word.
Yeah.
With each other. You can't think about one without the other. And partly why that like Taylor Swift is Travis Kelce more popular now was kind of that weird thought through my brain. Because, like, yes, at this point now, these two are linked name to name.
Yeah, exactly. Like people know,
and we know
him
that
and they know
Mahomes is going to play several years after Kelce. So it's not like their career is bound together 100%. Kelce's career is bound to Mahomes, but Mahomes is going to have a whole other future. Like, who knows, 4 years from now, we might say, man, Mahomes and Rice already have 15 touchdowns. That's, or 20 touchdowns, 30 touchdowns. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And we'll have that to compare it to. And like Kelce, Mahomes to Kelce will always be that standard going forward.
Yeah.
And now all the receivers and tight ends look up to Kelce as somebody that they need to mimic because he's done it and he's done it for so long.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we could gush over those two the whole time, but let's go ahead and gush about someone's return to Kingdom. Mecole Hardman. He had that drop in the first quarter, which stunk. He had some balls go over his head and let it go out of bounds on some punts. But he made the play when it felt like the team needed a spark. Your defense was amazing because they had not allowed a single point after that.
Yeah.
They ended up not, but at that time you could not expect that sort of momentum would continue that way, because even in the Denver game that we saw the week prior to that, the defense did fantastic against that team, but eventually they got ran on and Denver scored a touchdown on them. So despite that, it doesn't matter who your opponent is. If you give them enough tries, eventually it's like one's gonna break through. It's not an insult to our defense to say that. It's just like being realistic about odds. Like, as many times as you try something, eventually you got to be able to succeed once or twice.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Mecole had that giant punt return that set Arrowhead a rocking. And then he had a clutch third down conversion to keep clock moving, to keep the drive moving, when that handed it to Pacheco for him to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
So that the Chiefs could have that 14-point cushion. So how big was that Mecole return, that signing overall? And did you expect to see like immediate spark the way that it did?
Yeah, I feel like it was like the thing that they needed, and they're really gonna do well with him. And it was really the thing that I was latched onto the entire time, because I was like, oh yeah, he's back. I want to see what he does. And he delivered. So I was really excited, and knowing that he's gonna be with us again was exciting as well.
Yep. And like, I don't know if we really got to see the extent of it with him like back in the offense, but it felt like the other receivers could do something else or more to their skill set, versus saying you have to play the role that Mecole Hardman would play.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So last year we really didn't get to see that Kadarius Toney and Mecole Hardman both factor.
Yeah.
It was like they would always kind of take the place of one another. So that's kind of one thing I'm ready to see in this offense, is the two of those guys besides MVS, who's fast, but we saw it happen this game for him to have enough speed and separation and Mahomes to find him. Once a play broke down, we haven't seen much if a play is happening the way it normally happens. We're not seeing MVS have these big chunk yard plays and long touchdown passes. So I'm excited to have Mecole back in that spot to free these other wide receivers to play more towards their skill sets. And allow them to flourish in this offense versus us kind of contemplating, are they doing the right things or not? Are they playing the right receivers? Do they have the right guys? We, instead of asking those questions, we'd be able to say, yeah, this guy's good at this, and those are my expectations, instead of saying this guy's got to light up the league to be even subpar. You know what I mean? Just expectations were raised before that, prior to Mecole, and I think now that he's come back, it's kind of tapered everything. So I'm hoping people will be more realistic about the players we have and what your expectations of them should be, versus these projected expectations of you're going to be giant, you're going to be great, you're going to be a number one wide receiver, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, like the inflated, like, oh, you're going to be better than you actually are.
Or just assuming that, like, oh, yep, Kadarius Toney's a number one wide receiver. Well, we've seen him get his own targets when he's supposed to, and other than that, he's not a regular wide receiver.
Yeah.
So there's roles for the players on this team, and it's not as cookie cutter as this guy needs to be in everything, because that's not the way that Andy Reid looks at the situation. Well, unfortunately, Daily Dale, he was posting some memes, if you will, of himself, basically proclaiming that Frank Clark's coming back. But it didn't happen, so now I don't know what he's got to just keep that picture up forever, or just laugh about it and put it in a time capsule.
Oh yeah, it's a joke now, definitely.
So you had said last week that you were going to be excited if
I know,
Frank, but we got to see Mecole, so we already had that conversation. So, I mean, are you really upset, or is it more okay? The Chiefs are more past that point. You know, they're like, it's okay. We are happy with what we have.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of good players. I was just kind of shocked, like, oh, I thought he was coming back for sure, but it's like, oh, he'll be all right. It'll be okay.
Because it said that he was immediately going to be on Seattle's regular roster, whereas maybe the conversation here would be you're going to sit on the practice squad for a while because we don't necessarily need you right now. And you and I had that talk in the previous episode that, I would kind of just rather him sit around for the time anyway. So,
yeah, that's true. We wouldn't really use him anyway.
So he must have thought that there was going to be more opportunity in Seattle to play, or maybe they'll get in the playoffs and he'll be maybe he'll get more playoff sacks if he's lucky, or maybe they don't and they release him, and who knows? I don't know the rules. I don't know if they could bring him in like literally championship game or Super Bowl week.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be interesting.
It would be. All right, before we get to our final conversation about the Week 8 predictions against the Denver Broncos, make sure to follow and subscribe to us on all the channels that you guys could possibly watch us and listen to us from. And be sure to rate or like or comment or share to us, or all the above, to let us know you love what we're delivering to you. Thank you for my ad read. Okay, our final topic of this episode is the Week 8 matchup. We have a Broncos rematch on another afternoon, this time Sunday afternoon in Mile High. Reminder that we had already played this team 2 weeks ago. So let's see, 10, 17, it will be about 21, 22 days since we played this team last. And we know that division games are tough, and despite what we saw on Thursday, where the Denver offense was struggling to beat the Chiefs defense, we still saw the Chiefs offense struggle enough in that game for it to not feel like the game was completely out of reach.
Yeah.
We had mentioned maybe the team had felt like they were in that we're going to win no matter what coasting mode.
Mm-hmm.
But as a fan, you don't think
You
that.
don't really...
until you see a big margin on the scoreboard, you know that anything can happen, because we've literally seen, as sports fans, any extreme scenario, any exaggerated circumstance is plausible to happen if, you know, the odds are stacking up that way. So all that being said, what are your kind of general feelings about this game coming up on Sunday, and how do you think the Chiefs are looking at this game? How do you think they see this game playing out?
I think they're going to start slow, and they usually start slow. And I think they're going to kind of just coast along, not really do anything too crazy.
Okay.
Because this is the second time they're playing the Broncos, and we know that it's not a hard team to beat. So
a team that they talk and media projects them as trying to get rid of all their good players as well. They haven't done that yet. And this is their last shot to take on the Chiefs in the year of our Lord 2023.
Yeah, they want to beat us, but I mean, just looking at the two teams, like, we're the better team. So I feel like we're just going to coast along until we really need to pull out really, like, the big plays. And I think at the end of the game, we're going to come out with the win, but it's probably going to be pretty close.
Okay. Because the last matchup, we were like, we could just run the ball and win by 20-some points and the game would be over. But we still had this urge to keep passing the ball and whatnot. So
yeah, I think that's going to happen again, probably.
So do you think the offense is going to put up enough points at the beginning to then feel like they're coast, or do you think they're going to take their time trying to score?
They're probably going to take their time, I think.
Because we've seen that this team can score really fast, so it's not necessarily...
If they...
Like, what is like slow to this team? You know what I mean? Like, this team can score in 13 seconds if they want to. So...
yeah, it all comes down to if they want to.
Okay. Well, my overall thoughts about this matchup is that I think the offense, since we saw enough of a spark in this last Sunday, that we'll do enough on offense, probably throwing it to Travis, probably doing some jet sweeps or something like that, other than just hand the ball to Pacheco and watch the clock tick off. But we're going to do that. We'll put up a couple scores to keep the margin pretty split. The defense... I'm not sure how much of a difference the Denver offense is going to make going against them, having just already played them recently. And, I felt like they had this feeling that they needed to not allow a single point on the scoreboard, and that they didn't get that done. So I'm kind of hoping they have that urge as well, that they have the urge to zero out that scoreboard and get that goose egg.
That's true.
So...
they could be motivated to do that.
They could be, especially after last week where Chris Jones was not able to continue his sack streak. Sorry, we might have jinxed you on that one. But 5 other guys got sacks that game.
Yeah.
And 2 interceptions as well. So there might have even been a fumble too, if I can't remember. But that's already that many game-changing plays on defense.
Yeah, that's
against this same Denver Broncos offense that we saw a few weeks ago. So now they're even like less. You would think, you're right, they should be more motivated. They did beat the Packers last week. They might feel a little better about themselves. And that is their main motivating factor is we have not beaten the Chiefs. I want to beat them so badly.
Yeah.
But we see, even like statistically now, how dominant of a team overall this Chiefs team really is.
Yeah.
Because they have a top 2 special teams, a top 2 defense, and a top 4 offense.
Dang.
And there hasn't been a team to lead, like to be that highly ranked in all those categories since late 90s.
Oh, wow.
And every other team who's done that statistic has won a Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl that year.
Dang.
So just a little bit longer to really feel like this defense is legit and will hold throughout. We saw Nick Bolton get injured. He's going to miss even more time. The defense did well in his absence. Not saying that not having him there is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
They've been able to weather the storm, but you worry about that injury after that.
Yes.
Where you might start seeing decrease in play or production, and we're not trying to think or get that. We're not trying to be that way, think negatively like that, and try to wish injury on people.
No.
But it happens.
Yeah.
It's the NFL, and injuries can and do happen despite all your best efforts. So here's hoping that this Denver matchup, if it's not a total beatdown, it's a do just enough to come out ahead like always, and we'll be slightly upset that it wasn't a massacre, but we can still at least be happy that it was a win.
That it was a win.
And not that we have to be sad that it's a loss. And prepare ourselves, because a week after that, they're going to Germany. Yay. And they're hosting the Miami Tyreeks.
That'll be cool. That'll be really neat.
So I know a lot of people are kind of projecting themselves to that game already. And I'm not worried that that's happening over there at Arrowhead Drive. Andy keeps them highly motivated, highly ready. Divisional opponents are always like a stressor that they mention. It's a thing to take up to the utmost importance. So I'm not entirely worried that we're going to see something like whatever you call it, where a letdown game. Where you're not paying attention to this game. You're looking for the week after that.
Yeah.
And it's this week that gets you, because
you're looking over that.
You're looking ahead, and you got looked over instead. So let's see this Sunday. I'm ready to see a good donkey demolishing. Love my alliteration. So let's see the Chiefs come out on top. If it's not going to be an ugly win, then let's hope for a 31-0 game that both sides of the ball look fantastic, and we are just so confident going to Germany.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we conclude this week's edition?
Excited.
Me too.
Excited to watch them play.
Me too.
Like always.
And then next week will be very exciting. And we have a lot of episodes and stuff coming out early in the day versus trying to create something at midnight for everybody. So I'm used to that. I'm used to being a morning person, but there's going to be a lot of NFL fans next week trying to figure out what they're going to do for that early Sunday wake up.
I know.
Guys, just want to say thank you all for listening and watching, or however you're digesting our content. Really appreciate your support. It means the world. I'll say it one more time. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment, share, follow. All of the buzzwords that you would put in a software and let the algorithm spit it back out. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or next day or morning commute or whenever, wherever you're listening to us. Either way, I appreciate it greatly. As always, let's go. Chiefs!
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate. Your trusted source for all things Chiefs. Red Kingdom Media.